Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sideline Shenanigans podcast today with Jacob Maggard
Colin Richardson.
and welcome back to some more NFL talk. Obviously, if you guys are returning, you're enjoying the series, and we'll keep going as the season goes on. Looking to do that mock draft this week at some point. I'll probably get up with Colin and the others, and we'll see what we can do. The Titans did just so happen to move up that board a little bit, so get an even better player. The more games we play, the better player we'll have. Obviously, you guys are enjoying it. Like, subscribe, comment, helps a ton. Boost the channel out to other people. I got new content come out. If you check out yesterday's video, be an NBA video previewing the season. And then if you're watching this on Wednesday with the NFL talk, I'll also have my award predictions coming out for the NBA. So I should have a lot of content there. And then of course I pick them on Thursday for college football. But we will go ahead and roll on into this. And it is your team up first, Colin. So I will go ahead and let you talk about what happened in this one.
All right. Yeah, this was a bit of an unfortunate game for my team. So you saw with Pittsburgh, they rolled out their big package a ton in this game. The three tight ends and a extra offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Obviously, it got the run game going. And then all their touchdowns through the air were two tight ends, two
Yeah.
to Freiermuth, one to Darnell, and one to Jonnu. The problem with this game is they could not stop anything the Bengals were doing. The Bengals couldn't really stop them either. So it was really going to come down to who gets the ball last. And unfortunately for me, it was the Bengals. The defense was just it was kind of embarrassing. I mean, you had an idea where they were throwing the ball. If they were throwing the ball, you kind of knew where it was going. It was Jamar Chase over and over and over again,
Yeah.
but they just I don't know, one guy on him and he was getting destroyed the whole night. And then the drive right before the half, he ran like three or four out routes in a row, and it was just 15 yards, 15 yards, 15 yards right down the field.
Yeah.
It just keep running out routes. I don't know what was going on there. The defense was pretty embarrassing this game, honestly, for both teams. Chase Brown had an excellent game too, and the two older quarterbacks really pulled through and gave us an exciting game Thursday night.
Yes, stapled as the Unk Bowl between the two 40-year-old quarterbacks. Of course, they've got the high-powered offenses. They both scored 30 points. It did kind of look like the Steelers were going to end up winning it there at the end. And then, like you said, the Bengals just ended up getting the ball back. And when they had the ball last, they were able to go down and get the victory. I do think that Flacco looked incredible for the Bengals. He looked like he could lead this offense into a place where they can win some games. Now, defensively, if they keep playing this bad, I mean, it's going to take him going on for 350 yards every week to have a chance. But, their defense has some players. I don't know what's going to happen there. Hendrickson, of course, signed back in the offseason, so he's supposed to be a real difference maker for him. I don't think he's having the year he had last year. And then for the Steelers, I mean, Aaron Rodgers played pretty good in the second half, but those two interceptions really hurt him. Obviously, we talked about it before we recorded. One of them, not really his fault. DK did get the ball ripped out of his hands and kind of a questionable interception there with the ruling that we saw happen just a year ago. Virginia Tech got a touchdown taken away from them because a player was apparently out of bounds. And in that situation, it did not go your way. So you're just on the raw side of both of these
Yeah.
situations. You look at the run game, like you said, Chase Brown got going for the Bengals and had probably his best game of the year, and then Jalen Warren was going for the Steelers, and that really big tight end group that they have, they're all three very talented. I mean, Darnell brings his own style of play because he's a mauler in the run game, and he's also just an unbelievable red zone threat because he's 6'7", as he did his celebration when he scored. Then of course Freiermuth, we all knew he could be this good. There was times in that game they were lining him up at receiver and just saying, "This dude's our best pass catcher tonight, so we're just going to throw him the ball." And I think it was like 9 catches for I don't know 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't remember the whole stat line, but he had an unbelievable game. Jonnu did score as well, like you said, and I think the Steelers are going to be okay. I don't think they're going to get this defensive performance every week. They've had much better defense the last 6 or 5 weeks of the season, and if that defense that they had shows back up, they'll be okay. It is very, very good to see the offense score 31 points. Any last thoughts on that one?
Yeah, shout out to T for sliding there at the end of the game. That was huge for them.
Yeah.
I know Jamar was asked if he would slide, and he said he would, but I don't know if he would. I think T, that was definitely smart of him. I think if
Yes.
he does score there, it definitely gives Pittsburgh a chance to go back down the field and score on them again with the way the game was going. So that kind of just iced the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
in
Th-
there.
You like seeing those like smart plays when players aren't greedy, aren't. I think there's another game I was watching this week when a player did the exact same thing, got down inside like the 3 yard line and slid down and just took the win. He could have
Yeah.
easily ran in for a touchdown. Oh, it was Diego Pavia in the Vanderbilt game. Had a free touchdown, could have walked in and slid down to take 3 knees and run the clock out. So very smart by him. And again, you like to see that from the players, just knowing the rules, knowing the game, knowing that they can just knee it out and take a victory instead of being greedy and getting those points on the board. We will move on down to the Rams versus the Jags. I believe both of us picked this, just kind of didn't really have faith in the Jaguars' start. Didn't seem like that was really the Jaguars. And they showed up in this game the way you thought they would. Their defense was embarrassing. Now Stafford is unbelievable, so he threw all over them. It was even pouring the rain down there, and it didn't really matter. So he goes out, has an incredible performance. They don't run the ball super well, but I mean, when Stafford's got 5 passing touchdowns and does what he does through the air, you don't need him really. Super impressive that they did this without Puka Nacua, and just furthermore puts the point up that they can be this crazy good offense without their best player. You look at the other side with the Jaguars. Lawrence doesn't have a horrible game. I mean, throws for nearly 300 yards. Completion percentage is pretty bad. Does have a touchdown. And the big story of this one for the Jaguars is Travis Hunter had his breakout game where he looked like a superstar receiver. 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Had a really big play that he did score that touchdown on. And so that can be really promising for them if they can get him going. BTJ, I know, has had his struggles this year. And maybe they've got a real wide receiver one there with Hunter and John BTJ can kind of sit back and maybe get back into the game because apparently he was focusing on some hand injury, wrist injuries coming into the season. That's what's slowed him down. So we'll see what happens with the Jags the rest of the year. Again, I don't see that being a playoff team, although they had that hot start. And for the Rams, they're very impressive, and I love their offense and defense combo. Could be one of the better in the NFC. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the Jaguars had been finding ways to win, but they just ran into a buzzsaw in London. Like you said, promising from Travis Hunter, but that was pretty much the only positive there for the Jaguars. For the Rams, that pass rush I saw generated 7 sacks,
Yeah.
so that's pretty impressive from Jared Verse and company. And then, like you said, without Puka Nacua, they put up 35 points, so that makes it even scarier once he gets back because he was having an unbelievable season. So to do all that without him, and then I guess just Devontae Adams, really, I can't really name another receiver on that team. So yeah, really impressive there from the Rams, and Matt Stafford continues to have an incredible year.
Yeah, and Tyler Higbee used to be one of those tight ends that you watched out for in fantasy football. He's down there with the Rams. He's having an okay season. And then the guys that did step in for him would be like a Tutu Atwell, and I think he had caught like his second pass of the season a few weeks ago. And Jordan Whittington, which was a player that played at Texas in college, stepped into the league and has kind of been that target to take over for the Cooper Kupp role from 2 or 3 seasons ago. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really impressive they did what they did without their lead receiver in Puka Nacua. Moving on to our next one here, the Saints taking on the Bears in what was another depressing performance if you were a Saints fan. Spencer Rattler, though, positives, he's actually kind of looked like a guy you might be able to keep now. He's shown some really great things this season. He's put on performances that makes you think, man, if we could have used that second round pick to go out and get a receiver or a defensive piece to help him instead of doing what they did. So great improvements there from Rattler, and you see Olave has an incredible game, 2 touchdowns, 98 yards. It's pretty simple. Rattler's figured it out. Just throw it to your best player and let him make plays. And so that's the positives. The negatives, they don't have a run game at all. Kendre Miller seems like he's done for the season. Kamara just can't run the ball super effectively. Good pass catcher, but without any kind of run game, you don't expect this team to be able to hang around in games. They're going to have to pass so much. And then you look at the Bears side, impressive performance from them. They have a really great second quarter, and DeAndre Swift put on the backpack at the end of that game. There was a couple plays where he ran through people's faces and got first downs and was getting up and celebrating. It's probably the best game I've seen DeAndre Swift have in 2 years. So, yeah, really impressive from him. You kind of knew that Ben Johnson could untap that potential in running backs. He's done it a couple times, especially those Lions guys and Monty and Gibbs. And so it was a great performance from Swift and just an overall good performance from the Bears offensively and defensively. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you kind of feel for the Saints. It's not like, I mean, they're fighting every week. They're not really getting blown out every single game, but they're just 1-6. Just not too much talent on the team, like you said. Some questionable draft picks in the last draft. But for the Bears, that's four in a row for them. So they're on a bit of a hot streak here. And I think Ben Johnson's doing a great job with them. Caleb Williams, he didn't really have his best game, but I mean, they were playing the Saints. So as long as you don't turn the ball over a bunch of times, you're going to be fine. And they were able to get DeAndre Swift going, like you said. So that was great for them. And then Spencer Rattler, he had a pretty good game, it looks like. Two touchdowns and both to Olave. And I think that would be really good for them if they could get a good connection there, and really see Olave improve this year. It's
Yeah,
maybe a piece to move forward with.
yeah, I think he's a good player still, and he's still relatively young. Not drafted too long ago. He's had those injury concerns early, and so people are always saying if he does have a great hot start to the season and he's healthy, trade him to try to capitalize on the value. But I mean, when you have a top receiver, I don't think the best thing to do is just get rid of him. I know as a Titans fan, when you get rid of your best receiver, he turns into a monster, and then your team sucks. So I wouldn't recommend doing that if I'm the Saints. I think that's a decent piece to build around. He's not old, and I know he's had the injury issues, but this year he's looked good. Rattler has actually looked like a potential quarterback for the future for them. And so there's some positives there. If he does get moved, he would be probably the best available receiver on the market. Would be a huge addition to any of those offenses that need to add a receiver. I know you as a Steelers fan probably would love to have Olave. He would fit really well next to DK too, just because he's not an outside guy that has to be on the perimeter. He can be in that slot and make plays there. So it would be a nice piece of the Steelers to go get him. And I don't think you'd have to give up too much just because the Saints are in a situation where they will take anything. Draft capital probably being the biggest and most important thing for them. We'll go on, move past that Saints Bears game down to the Dolphins and the Browns. And if this was it, if this was the final straw, if this what gets Tua Tagovailoa benched, and I think that's a real thing that could happen. He scored a whopping negative 1.6 points in fantasy. It is almost impossible for a quarterback to score negative points. I mean, you see defenses score negative points, or you see a running back that fumbles once and they take him out of the game and bench him for carrying the ball loosely. Not a quarterback. He plays the whole entire game and scores negative points. As you can tell, Dylan Gabriel didn't have to do much, and he threw for 116 yards and was the leading passer in the game. It's just really, really depressing if you were a Dolphins fan because what you saw this offense do 2 seasons ago, they looked like they were legit. They had two top receivers. They had Tua playing at a level that he wasn't necessarily the best in the league. I think there was some overrating happening due to the fact that his receivers were Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who may be the two fastest players in the sport, and you could just kind of run under it. I remember a time, I think it was me and Dad were watching a game and just saw Tua throw a ball and was like, that ball was just floated, but because it's Tyreek Hill, he just runs under it and makes a play. And now you don't have Tyreek for the year, and even though Waddle's playing as good as he is, it's really hard to make plays when Tua's not playing good. To give some props to the Browns, they do go out and get a victory. They look great defensively, picking them off 3 times, but also just shutting down everything. And Quinshon Judkins, man, he had a down week last week. He said, let me bounce back and recover from that and go 25 carries. So workhorse load right there. 84 yards, 3 touchdowns. Getting in the end zone a ton. Had him starting in my fantasy league. Got my first win. Let's go. Quinshon
Yo.
Judkins gave me 20 plus. And actually, we kind of clowned it at the beginning of the week. We said, why is this the matchup of the week? It was a 4-2 team playing my 0-6 team. And somehow I got a 40-point win. So we showed up, and Quinshon Judkins was one of those top dogs for me. Anything you have on this game here?
Yeah, I would say it was probably really nice for Dylan Gabriel to go from throwing 52 times last week to only 18 times this week. So a nice change of pace for him. And then for the Dolphins, man, Tua comes out last week and bashes his teammates to the media, and then I don't think his teammates are the problem in my opinion.
No.
I think he may be the problem,
Yeah.
throwing his 3 interceptions. I did see Mike McDaniel say that Tua is going to start this week, so that's unfortunate for them. I would give Quinn a chance. It's not like they're making the playoffs this
No.
year anyways, and I don't really think you can move forward with Tua. You have the injury history and he's not playing good. I just don't really see much potential there with him. And then for the Browns defense, a really impressive win. That defense is incredible. If they could just get the offense going, I mean they got it going this game, but
Yeah.
they're playing the Dolphins. So, but if they had really any resemblance of an offense, they would be a really dangerous team.
Yeah, and you got to think, I mean, they scored 31 because of their defense. I mean, getting
Yeah.
three interceptions and giving them great field position. Rumors around these two teams. The Browns, I don't know if they would move off of like a Jerry Jeudy potentially could be a guy to look out for. You could see one of those tight ends get moved because where they drafted Harold Fannin, he's played well. Maybe someone wants a David Njoku, who's a veteran that could come in and make a difference in the receiving game. And then other than that, they're not moving Myles Garrett. They're not moving Denzel Ward. They're not moving those star pieces of that defense. So I don't think there's a lot that can come from the Browns roster. And then for the Dolphins, they have two superstar potential players that could get moved. You could see Devon Achane get moved, and that's because you could just absolutely capitalize on the value of a running back before he ever faces an injury. And that's a guy that could maybe get you a first round pick, and that's not where you took him. So that would be extremely valuable. And then Jalen Waddle. If somebody wants Jalen Waddle, they can give up the house and get him. And I think if the Dolphins are serious and legit, they would look at those offers. And if someone wants to throw them the king's ransom, you take it because you are going into a full rebuild, it seems. And I agree with you. Give someone a chance at quarterback. Ewers is a guy that was a five-star perfect recruit, so he has untapped potential. There was times in college where he looked great, and then there was times where he just kind of didn't look so great. But give him a chance, let him go out there and make a few plays and see if he can be your guy. I think he's more of a bridge QB, if anything, but who knows? You might have something, and it is definitely worth a try. And at this point, you just got to think Tua is gone after this season. I believe they do have a pretty good out in the contract and won't have to pay a bunch of guaranteed money. For him, I'm glad he got his money. I'm glad that, with the head injuries, that he's going to be able to just probably hang it up and did well for himself and his family. But at the same time, it's probably better for him just to hang it up. He doesn't look like the player he was 3 or 4 years ago. It's just crazy to watch the steep downhill fall from what was Nick Saban said the best team he ever had at Alabama, and Tua got hurt and broke his hip, and then it's just all downhill from there for him and his career. Moving on beyond that game, talking about all downhill, that is the Tennessee Titans. They are a horrible football team. I will say the first half showed some fight. Got that, we talked about it that we might fire him before this game to get a boost. They got a first half boost. They were in the game. They had the ball before halftime with three timeouts and just run the ball and get out of there. It's like, what are we doing? We're 1-5. Who cares if you turn the ball over before the half or if you give them the ball back? Nobody does. Go score. I mean, Cam Ward played great in the first half, and we're timid and won't let him go out and throw the ball, and then come out in the second half and look like spoiled milk. I don't know what to say. I mean, the team was awful. It was the worst performance I've ever seen in my life in the second half. He has a really bad fumble. It's like his fourth or fifth of the season. They are worried a little bit about that. It's a lot of unforced fumbles. Two or three of them have just been him dropping the ball. But at the same time, he's just so panicked in the pocket. He's been getting sacked 4 or 5 times a week. Our right tackle in Latham has not been good at right tackle. He was actually pretty solid at left tackle last year. And then we signed your left tackle over, and he's actually been pretty good for us. So I can't complain about him. It's just Latham can't play right tackle anymore, and that's what he did in college. So that's kind of worrying. And now there's the whole rumor of will he move down to the guard position? Well, he's like a 6'7", 350-pound player. I don't think that's an offensive guard. And then you start worrying, did we make the wrong pick at number 7 in the draft where it was really important that we nailed that pick? So concerns there on the offensive line. When you look at the Titans as a whole, the run game is not impressive by any means. I think Tyjae Spears has more upside and potential than Tony Pollard. That's a name that could get moved. The Kansas City Chiefs, come on down and get him. I mean, if you want Tony P, he's on the end of his contract. We'll happily get rid of him for maybe a fourth or fifth round pick. And the Titans aren't going anywhere, so why not move off an aging running back? And I think they could definitely use him. He's definitely better than Isaiah Pacheco. So I think that there's the upside there. And for the other side of the ball with the Patriots, we've been talking about this run game and not getting going. Well, they had a great run game this one. They had a great run game in the first half specifically. Ramondre was good. Henderson didn't do a whole lot. It's just weird how they don't use him, seeing how good he was in college. And then for the Titans, it's all rookies. It's literally all rookies now. Van Jefferson is out. Calvin Ridley's got a hamstring injury, and he's done for a while. And Tyler Lockett just asked to be released. So our receiving core is literally Alec Manor, who is a rookie, Chimere Dike, who is a rookie, Gunnar Helm at tight end, who is a rookie, and then I don't know what we're doing at the other spot. James Prochet, who's on our practice squad. this is the perfect opportunity to bring up Restrepo. I don't see why we wouldn't. But heck, I guess maybe you don't want the all rookie team out there playing. But I will say the Titans seem to have nailed a few of these draft picks, and that's positives for the future. Chimere Dike is leading the entire NFL in return yards, and now he's got a great receiving game from 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Has really legit speed. If you watched him at Florida last year, you kind of saw the ability to return kicks. And then Gunnar Helm has been really impressive as a pass blocker, which was really unexpected. Was supposed to just be a pure receiving tight end, and with us having Chig Okonkwo at the end of his contract, there may be a world where we move him at the deadline if somebody wants to come out and get an athletic tight end, and then just rely on Gunnar Helm for the future. So a lot of positives when it comes to just the rookies' performances, but a lot of negatives from this team. They're just not very good. Last but not least, rumor is that the Titans are willing to trade anybody not named Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward. So, hey, fire sale. Come get them all. There's a lot of options there. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I want to shout out the Titans there for not giving away Jeffrey Simmons. That would be a easy name for them to ship off, but I think it's great if you can keep one of your. I mean, he's a all pro.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're going to keep at least that to build on moving forward. And then obviously you're not going to trade Cam Ward. You just drafted him
Yeah.
first overall. Uh, and then for the Patriots, my goodness, does Drake May ever throw incomplete passes? I know against Pittsburgh, he threw 16 straight complete passes, and then this game he was 21 of 23,
That's
which is
unbelievable.
absolutely insane. He has definitely improved this year, and the Patriots are a scary, scary team. Already 4-0 in their division. They would beat the Bills once. So definitely a team to look out for moving forward.
Yeah.
And then for the Titans, like you said, they fought hard there in the first half. I saw on the red zone, I saw the DK touchdown.
Yeah.
I was kind of hyped. I was like, "Uh-oh, we got an upset brewing," but it just went downhill in the second half,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I don't know. Did Ramondre Stevenson fumble this game?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing him fumble. I may or may not have turned the game off in the second half after they scored 14 straight.
I think that
So,
might be two in a row where he hasn't
yeah.
fumbled. So maybe he's got something figured out there. That would be big for the Patriots. Because, man, if they don't turn the ball over, which normally it's not Drake May, it's normally fumbles. If they
Yeah.
don't fumble the ball, they are a very, very dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean they're very scary offensively. They've shown that they actually have a pretty decent defense too. I think the Patriots are a legit playoff contender, and I don't think before the season I thought they would take that big of a step. I know with Vrabel as a coach and with a lot of the potential players around them that they could be good. I think Diggs was a great addition, and there was some pieces that they got. I thought Travion was going to be a bigger addition, truthfully, but I knew Drake May could take that next step and be the guy. But man, I didn't think they'd be a playoff contender already. And it seems that there's a real chance they are the best team in the division by the end of the year. If they somehow win another game over the Bills, they would probably win the division, which would just be unbelievable. I mean, that quick, we're back to a Patriots dynasty already. Moving on to this next one here, Raiders, Chiefs. I mean, what are the Raiders doing? this this team is really, really, really bad. I don't know how they've won 2 games. I mean, one of the reasons is they played the Titans, so they got a free win. But this team is terrible. They have a few good pieces, but some of them aren't playing. Brock Bowers is unavailable. I don't think that Jacoby Myers played last game either. So you were relying on all rookies on the outside and Besh and Thornton, and you're relying on Genty in the backfield. And their offensive line is atrocious. The quarterback situation is horrible. And man, did the Seahawks absolutely fleece the Raiders with that deal. And then they went out and added to Sam Darnold, who's looked incredible. And then the Chiefs, they're back. They look like they're back. This is a couple weeks now that they've looked pretty good, offensively especially. They got Kelsey going yet again. If that connection returns to anywhere near what it was, they are super scary. Rashi Rice scores a touchdown. I think actually scores 2 touchdowns in his first game back. So that shows how important of a player he is. This team getting their weapons back, getting their pieces back to put things back together, and then the defense doing a shutout, even though it was the Raiders, is still impressive to shut out anybody in the NFL. They're very, very scary. And of course, they still have Mahomes and Andy Reid, and that's the best at the position and the best at the coaching. So they look like they can definitely have a great season moving forward. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, shout out to my guy Kenny Pickett. He got in the game and fumbled his first snap. Uh, yeah, but Other than that, a very impressive win by the Chiefs. I mean, the Raiders are a team that they play 2 times a year, so they know the Chiefs, especially at this point, because they've been pretty much the same team for since Mahomes got there, and they're still able to shut them out and put up 31 points on them. So that is really impressive. For the Raiders, I really don't know. I mean, obviously you were wanting to try and make a push for the playoffs this year, signing Gino, but it's just not looking good. I'm not sure what to do for them moving forward, and it's Genty hasn't been doing too well either,
Uh,
which is not ideal for them. But yeah, like I said, I don't know for the Raiders, but the Chiefs are definitely back, especially now with Rashee Rice and his 2 touchdowns. That's very scary for the rest of the NFL. Unfortunately, we thought we might get a Chiefs bye year, but no, no, they're back.
that can't seem to happen.
No.
It is with Mahomes and Andy Reid, as long as they're together, they're going to be a playoff contender, if not
Yeah.
a playoff or Super Bowl favorite. So that won't end for a long time, probably, unless Andy Reid is ready to hang it up anytime soon. We'll go on and move to this next one here. Eagles taking on the Vikings, and man, were the Eagles just consistent. 7-7-7-7 across the board, getting a touchdown in each quarter. And here was the game that they answered all the questions about can they throw the ball. Jalen Hurts goes 19 for 23, super efficient, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. Devonta Smith goes for nearly 200, and I believe AJ Brown had probably I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was over 80, maybe even over 100 himself. So unbelievable from this offense. They threw the ball like the best in the league, and that's not been the Eagles the last few years. It's not even been them this year. And wow, did they look impressive and shut up all the haters on that side of the ball. And the other thing is their defense, and they were able to kind of control the Vikings. I mean, 22 points, you'd like to not give up 22 points, but the Vikings aren't a bad team. And they just got back Mason. I think Wentz is now under some injury concerns, so now there's question marks there. Now McCarthy probably will step back in if there is a real injury concern with Wentz. Overall, again, this Eagles team, if they look like this passing the ball, I mean, they can be the best team in the NFC. It's just this isn't every game. There's games where Hurts doesn't really have his accuracy dialed in and he ain't this good. Uh, Other question mark is just where's Saquon? He just isn't the same player this year. Now, those questions that were asked all offseason of would he be able to repeat it, it's so hard to go back and do that again. They're kind of being answered now, and I think the wear and tear on his body probably is showing up here in this season. Maybe he just takes kind of a down year, doesn't go for anything crazy, and he comes back and becomes the guy he was next season. But it doesn't seem like he's going to be super, super effective on the ground this season unless he really takes a break here or there. Maybe that bye week comes up and they get a break there, and that could help him out. But what were your overall thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like you said, they were killing it through the air after probably 3 weeks in a row of just not very good offense. They were able to get things going there. Devontae Smith, like you said, 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown. If it wasn't for Jamar Chase, that would probably be the best wide receiver performance of the week.
Yeah,
He probably ran more than slants, Devontae Smith did. And then for the Vikings, the 3-3 now, they were looking really good. I think they were 3-1 maybe at one point or something around there. So it kind of fell back a little bit. But this is really promising for the Eagles. If they're able to get Saquon going again, that would be really, really scary, especially with the way they were able to throw the ball this week. Good things there for the Eagles, and then for the Vikings, maybe you'll get to see your rookie or not rookie, tech kind of a rookie,
yeah, basically a
quarterback.
rookie. Yeah.
Yeah, get to play. Which at this point, I guess you kind of want to see what he's got because Wentz he hasn't played bad, but he's not shown he's basically Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's exactly what you thought you got when you had Carson Wentz. I mean, that's
yeah,
the player he's been that he was expected to be. The Eagles all know all too well after he faced that injury. That's just the player he became. He does take chances in the passing game, that's for sure. So you do see that quite often from him. He is willing to push it up and down the field at eye level. I think that the receivers probably love it because I think Addison had over 100 yards in this one. I think Justin Jefferson's had a couple great weeks prior to this one. So that they probably enjoy the ball getting out to him a lot because with McCarthy they just weren't getting the ball. But for the future, you go out and you play McCarthy. It's not really much of a debate. He was a top 13 pick, top 12 pick. I don't remember the exact number. You have to play him. You have to. You can't have that much draft capital involved on a quarterback and not at least give him a chance. So I'd assume he starts the next game if he's ready to go. And I think there was reports that he could have come back. So I think that happens. And we'll see what the Vikings look like the rest of the year. Can they make a playoff push with him at quarterback? If he improves gradually as the year goes on, I think they could because they have a good team around them. They have some really great offensive weapons, and I think they get Aaron Jones back relatively soon, so he can maybe help boost the running game a little bit. And then for the Eagles, this is kind of what you expected, not those losses that they suffered. This is the bounce back game, and they showed their offensive ability, especially passing the ball. We'll move on to this next one here. A battle between two teams that before the season started, you just said, yeah, they might not both be very good. And one of them has actually looked pretty solid. The other one, they've been what we thought they were. The Jets now 0-7, and the Panthers up to 4-3. And we talked about it. If Bryce Young is going to keep playing decent football, then they can get him back in it. And now the worry is you don't have Bryce Young because he has an injury to his ankle, and it doesn't seem like it's super serious, but he is going to miss next week. I think they've already confirmed he's out. So if you're out there on the waiver wire in a two quarterback league, Andy Dalton might be the guy you have to grab. He comes in and starts more than likely for the Panthers. Rico Dowdle is the lead back yet again. Now, he isn't going for 200 yards like he has the last 2 weeks, but it's because they let Chuba get a bunch of carries, and it kind of derailed the way he was playing. I don't know how you really let. I know you have Chuba, and he's a guy you like and you wanted to play. But if Rico Dowdle goes for 200 scrimmage yards in back-to-back weeks, you play Rico Dowdle and you play him like he's your best player. They didn't do that in this game, and I think it kind of cost them a little bit in the run game. It still wasn't bad. They were still okay in the run game, but you could have probably seen this score blossom a little bit more. You got to think with Andy Dalton stepping in that they might run the ball more. And then other positives for this team. Xavier Legette has stepped up in a big way the last 2 weeks, catching touchdown passes and looking like the lead receiver that they drafted him to be. Of course, Tedero McMillan has still looked good this season, so you might have a bright future there in the receiving core. And if Bryce Young can get back pretty soon, I'd like to see them the rest of this season. Again, for the Jets, you're 0-7. You're really, really bad. Do you ship off any of these players? I don't know. Garrett Wilson's a phenomenal receiver. I think there's some teams that would pay a pretty penny to get him on their team. Maybe the Bills come knocking and say, hey, you want to do an in-division trade? Because the Bengals and the Browns did it. Do you want to do it? I don't know if it happens or not, but he would be a really nice addition to a team that needs a receiver. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be rough to watch the Jets play the rest of the season. They are bad. We talked about at the beginning of the year how we thought they weren't the worst team at 0 and whatever. Well, now they are. Now they are that bad, and 0-7 looks like the future is losing a lot of games this year. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is another terrible offensive performance by the Jets. They put up, I don't know, I think they may have put up 6 points last week as well. I know Tyrod comes in and throws two interceptions. I don't, as much as I like Tyrod, I don't know that he's the answer.
Yeah.
And I know Fields isn't getting anything going, but I think he can definitely facilitate even with his legs. Just being able to use his legs better than Tyrod, even probably about the same arm talent. So I don't really get the move there. But then for the Panthers, you have a big concern with Bryce Young. He's been playing pretty good this year. He's improved as the year has went on, and now he's hurt. So that'll be interesting to see how long he's out for. And then I'm with you with the uh, Rico Dowdle. I don't know how you don't give him all, well, not all the carries, but the vast majority of the carries after back-to-back weeks of insane production. And then I think I'm a Chuba fantasy owner, so I mean, obviously I want him to get some carries, but I think he averaged like 2 yards a carry this week. So it'll be interesting to see if they move more towards Rico or if they continue to split carries, and then if one of them might be a trade piece moving towards the deadline. That'll be interesting to see.
Moving on to our next one here, it is the Broncos taking on the Giants in what looked like it was going to be a blowout for the Giants and turns into a historic comeback for the Broncos that score 33 points in the fourth quarter. I don't know if I've ever seen this. I can't remember a game where I saw 33 points scored in the fourth quarter to come back and win a game. That looks like a basketball stat line in the fourth quarter. Obviously, Giants they throw away what was a really good game with some really poor decision making down the stretch. The Broncos kind of answered back a couple times, and it was because the Giants were playing that conservative football where you step back and just kind of you run the ball three times and you punt. You run the three. I mean, I don't know why teams do it, but it is a consistent thing that teams do. But they kind of committed to doing that. Got down towards the end of the game and had the ball back with, I can't even remember. It wasn't much time, maybe 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. And they get the ball back, and instead of running the ball, they on first down throw it, and Dart throws an interception. And the Broncos go down and score a touchdown. And it's like, oh my gosh, they have completely blown the lead all the way back up to where the Broncos are in it. Broncos score with like no time. I can't remember how much time on the clock. Maybe, I don't know, right over the 2 minute warning or something like that. And then they go up. And it's like, oh my gosh, the Broncos are going to come all the way back and win this game. And then the Giants, you know how it is. Teams always play that drop back defense and just let them throw it up and down the field. And the Giants go all the way down and score a touchdown. And so then it's like, holy crap, now the Giants are going to win the game. And then their kicker misses an extra point, and the Broncos get the ball back with no time, basically, and have a chance to go down and win it with a field goal, and hit two huge completions to Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton, and win, and kick a game-winning field goal. And I think it was from like the 22-yard line. It was a not even a hard kick. And it's just like, whatever the Broncos did in the fourth quarter, they unlocked something because they all game looked horrible and then go down and score 33 points and get an unbelievable win. If you're the Giants, I think that right there that's it for the season probably. That kind of game where you could have beat a pretty good Broncos team, maybe got something going. Now you probably just hang it up and say, let's just tank again. We do think that we found our guy in a quarterback. We think we found a guy in a running back that's pretty good, and we know we have a receiver that when he's healthy next year, maybe this offense could be fun. But what a way to lose! And man, did the Broncos just sneak out with a couple crazy wins in the fourth quarter. I mean, they come back against the Eagles just like this, where they were down and couldn't score and did it all in the fourth quarter. So they know how to win games late. I think a lot of that has to do with Peyton and how great of a coach he is. And it's just really impressive to see this Broncos team get this kind of win. Colin, your thoughts on this one?
I was kind of keeping up with this game on my phone towards the end. Then I started watching it on the Giants last drive, and then I saw the pass interference. The Giants had it on the one, and I turned it off. I was like, okay, the Giants win. And
Yep.
then I get a notification on my phone, Broncos come back. I was like, well, you've got to be kidding me. There was 37 seconds left, and I
Yeah.
don't know if the Broncos had a timeout. I'm completely with Brian Burns on this one. After the game, there was a video of him in the locker room infuriated. They were dropping eight into coverage and just rushing three, and then Bo Nix was able to just kind of pick them apart because he had all day in the pocket. The Giants have a great pass rush. I mean, and you're only going to bring three people. I'm completely with you. With teams get conservative, it never really works out for them unless they're up. I mean, heck, the Giants were up huge.
Yeah.
It just, I don't understand. It's been work. What you've been doing has been working for you all game. It's got you up by a ton of points, and
Yeah.
now you just want to quit playing. It just it makes no sense to me. A huge win for the Broncos, and then for the Giants, like you said, I mean that's one that you kind of have to have. They're 2-5 now. They could have been 3-4. There's a huge difference between that, at
Yes.
least in my mind. Uh, Jackson Dart, he played a pretty good game. He wasn't that efficient throwing the ball, but the one turnover was killer.
Yeah.
If he does not do that, they likely win the game.
Hmm.
But that one was absolutely brutal, and
Yeah.
a brutal loss for the Giants.
Yeah, I think he kind of got lit into on the sideline for that one. Dable has been every second has been love from
Yeah.
him, and he kind of lit into him on that. It's like you cannot do that when we've just blown this lead and we've got the ball back with less than 4 minutes. All we do is just keep the ball in our possession, throw a curl, throw a check down route to your running back. Do not force a ball over the middle of the field and give them the ball back in good field position. The Broncos, a combination of them earning it and the Giants kind of gifting it to them there at the end of that game, and then a crazy situation with the kicker missing an extra point, and he's now got cut. He got cut today, I think it was, for missing three PATs already. You can't do that. Those are the free points that you don't think they mean a ton because they're only 1 point, but then it comes back and it bites you right here. So that'll do it for him for the season. And man, what a win for the Broncos to continue their success and try to claw after the Colts who are at the top of this division, who now we'll talk about in this crazy game against the Chargers where they score 38 points. They look really good the whole game. The Chargers don't do anything in the first half, start having pretty good performance in the second half, and Justin Herbert throws for 420 yards, 55 passing attempts. We talked about last week with Gabriel, 52 was insane. I mean, I guess when you're down by this much, you just have to force the ball out. And this was a case of him doing that. Three passing touchdowns. Aronde Gadsden has an unbelievable game. Seven catches, 164 yards and a touchdown from a tight end. Really, really impressive from him. Seems he could be the future there at that position for them. And then Jonathan Taylor. He is the best back in the NFL right now, just purely based on the statistics that he's putting up every other night. Scores a ton of touchdowns. I think he's leading the league in touchdowns. I think he has 11 on the ground now. And anytime they get down to the red zone, it's just give him the ball and let him work. I think this Colts team has proven it. They're legit. They are 100% a real legit playoff contender and can easily go out and win the AFC. And I don't think anybody thought that this team was going to do that, especially not with Daniel Jones at the helm. So really, really impressive from them. And you just got to sit back and watch and admire the fact that Shane Steichen has an unbelievable offense and Daniel Jones is the guy that was drafted fifth overall. He's finally here. He's arrived. And he looks like a guy that can lead this team. There's a real chance he can win it, hit MVP. And I don't think that anybody thought that would happen. What a crazy season for the Colts. And for the Chargers, again, you hate to lose this one, but you lost to a really good team. So bounce back next week and try to get a win. Your thoughts about the Colts being atop of the entire NFL with 6 wins?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I would have never saw this coming, especially with their quarterback situation going into the season. I thought, honestly, I didn't think Anthony Richardson was great, but I thought he was definitely had more potential than Daniel Jones. But man, has he proven me wrong. He, like you said, he's honestly like an MVP candidate, which sounds absolutely insane to say out loud. Uh, and then Jonathan Taylor, it seems like every week is putting up 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy season from him so far. And then for the Chargers, like you see Justin Herbert's stat line. Honestly, if you see a quarterback throwing for 420 yards, you think they definitely win the game.
Yeah.
But no, they threw 55 times, and he was also their leading rusher, I think,
But yeah.
with 9 carries. Or yeah, I don't know if he had 9 carries. I think he had 7, and then the other dude had 9. But Herbert had more rushing yards. They got absolutely nothing going on the ground. But I mean, they were already down 23-3 at halftime. So you can't really throw the ball once you get in a situation like that. Sort of like what we saw with the Browns last week. Luckily for the Chargers, though, they have Justin Herbert and not Dylan Gabriel, so they were actually able to get things going in the second half. And then, like you said, out of that tight end, a crazy performance from him with 7 catches, 164 yards, and a touchdown. And then I know Keenan Allen, he had another great game. He's
Yeah.
had a bounce back year so far this year. Was Herbert with him when he was in LA the first time?
Yeah, they played together for a bit, so it seems that that connection is all
Yeah,
they were missing.
connection is back now. So that'll be something to watch moving forward. And then for the Colts, I mean, I guess they're just going to keep winning. I
Yeah.
really did not expect this out of them at all. I kind of after the first like 4 weeks of the season, I thought they'll slow down, but
Mhm.
no, this is absolutely crazy from them.
Yeah, and we talked about it as a joke that the AFC South was incredible because the Jags had just beat the Chiefs and the Colts were the best team in the NFL and the Colts kept it up. I mean, they're still up here and they've beat really good teams. I mean, this is a good Chargers team that everybody thinks is going to make the playoffs and they beat them handedly, beat them by 14 and had a huge lead and just kind of got conservative like you see teams do in the second half and then let them kind of claw back into it, but still not really all that close. Really, really impressive win from the Colts. And this offense is just scoring so many points. It's going to be hard to beat them. It seems that all those top teams in the league right now have those offensive gurus as the head coaches. So if the Titans, you're looking at that and you're saying, who's the next one? Who can we go out and try to find to lead a really impressive offense? Shane Steichen doing that with the Colts. Moving on to this next one here. The Commanders taking on the Cowboys. And the Commanders' concerns on the defensive side of the ball that we've brought up week after week and saying, man, why they keep losing these games it's bad now. You've got to do something. This is really, really bad. I mean, you made the trade for Marshawn Lattimore last year, hoping he'd come in and change things. All he did was make it worse. I mean, when he got there, they got worse defensively. So it's crazy to add that kind of corner and get worse, but he got burned time after time after time by George Pickens, who was just in his grill constantly too. Some of the catches he made was unbelievable. Right before the half, the Commanders scored a touchdown, and you're like, oh, okay, they got it close. The Cowboys went down and scored in 30 seconds. They went and scored in 30 seconds. A deep ball to Pickens and a 30-yard run by Javonte Williams punched it in for the touchdown. It was like, holy crap. I mean, if they have any defense at all, the Cowboys are scary good on the offensive side of the ball. They got back their best weapon in CeeDee Lamb. Now you have two wide receiver ones. You have an MVP level quarterback. You have a running back who looks like the guy he was supposed to be coming out of college. They are unbelievable. They have a tight end who's, I think, still first in fantasy at the position. This team is so good on the offensive side. They've just got to find a way to play some better defense. This week was one of their better performances, but Jaden Daniels did have to step out of this game with an injury, and Mariota come in and did not play very good. This was a rough game from him. He threw that pick six to DaRon Bland, his first of the season, and after that, it all went downhill. I don't think that was the performance you were hoping for out of Mariota, and they need Daniels back. They've got to have him because they got stagnant, and their defense is just, I don't know. There's a lot of questions here. I don't think the Commanders look like a playoff team right now. I don't think, and that's crazy because last year they made the NFC Championship game, and really all they did in the offseason was add. They lost some players here and there, but they kept their key pieces. McLaurin ends up coming back on his contract. Now, I know he's missed a lot of time, and maybe that's an issue, but it really hasn't been your offense. It's been your defense. So they need to make a move, go out and add an edge rusher or add something on the defensive side. And for the Cowboys, man, they are incredible. The rumor is they've been checking on all those pass rushers on bad teams and seeing if they can go grab one. You could have just kept the one you had, and then you wouldn't be having the issue of the defense not going after the backfield and making plays. But I don't know. The Cowboys are scary good offensively, and if they keep this going, I don't see how they don't win more games. You score 40, you could pretty much beat anybody. So, your thoughts on this one?
First, I just want to say, with the Cowboys looking for some edge pieces, I think it's actually comical because they had a top three in the league and just refused to pay him. It blows my mind. It's not like he was old or anything. He was young. And that's what the Cowboys are missing right now. But anyways, moving on. Commanders, the offense did not look great. The defense did not look great. Like you said, Jaden Daniels goes down, and Mariota, we saw him earlier in the year. He looked pretty good,
Yeah.
and then this game, he did not look good at all. And then Deron Bland with another pick six. I feel like he's got to have like some record at some point.
Yeah.
Cowboys, they were able to get the ground game going and through the air, like you said, with George Pickens and now CeeDee Lamb's back. So that offense is really scary. If they were just able to have a good defense, that Cowboys in general would be scary. But I mean, they're an all right team, but I just don't see them going very far with the defense in the current state it is that it's in. But maybe they can pick up some pieces at the deadline. Get them an edge rusher. Even like you said, they had one. They had one of the best. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, a name to watch for that edge rusher position. Jalen Phillips is on his contract year with the Miami Dolphins. Also, Bradley Chubb is with the Miami Dolphins. Two really good edge rushers that have a lot of potential. They're not doing anything there, so maybe a team like the Cowboys can go out and get one of those guys and bring him in to be an important piece. They can improve their defense. I could see this team being a playoff team. Their
Yeah, for
offense is
sure.
just so good. I don't know what happens the rest of the year. I think Dak is clearly up there at the top of the MVP race
Yeah.
with a few other guys that we've already talked about in the past. That there's a few guys playing well. His name is certainly in that conversation, and it's only going to stay there if he stays healthy and his receivers around him do as well.
Shout out to Jalen Lane though for the Commanders, former Hokie. He's doing very good this year. I don't know if any Commanders fans expected that out of him,
Yeah.
but he's played very well.
Yeah, he's actually been a decent receiver target on the outside, but he's also returned kicks. I think he has a punt return touchdown this year too. We remember him doing that
Yeah,
at Tech. So the one that was crazy, he got his helmet almost ripped off his head on a face mask, and then still returns it for a touchdown. So that was a really crazy one. Showed the flashes of his elite upside as a potential athlete, and can be a target for Daniels or Mariota, whoever ends up having to play quarterback next week. Moving on to our next one here. It is the Packers versus the Cardinals. Packers end up moving on to 4-1-1. Of course, had that tie with the Cowboys earlier in the season. Star player, we just mentioned pass rush and needing it. It's Micah Parsons. Surprise, surprise. He has three sacks. He does it all in the clutch. He gets the sacks when they need him. The Packers are able to come back and get a victory here. Josh Jacobs had another really good day with the touchdowns. Not so much the yardage, but it's all right. He got it done in the end zone when it mattered. You look at the other statistics in this game, the Arizona Cardinals have everything, and they lose because, again, the defensive performance from Parsons isn't showing up on those statistics. But Brissett has stepped in and looked really good as a backup quarterback. Potentially a guy that if Kyler Murray comes back healthy, if anybody needs a QB, he could get moved for it. I don't know what teams really are looking for one, though, with the Bengals addressing their QB need issue. I don't know what Brissett's availability would be. And then, of course, Trey McBride, lead receiver for the Cardinals. We know they had some injuries coming into this one. I don't think they had Marvin Harrison. And so McBride steps up in a huge way, becomes the lead target. 10 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns is a great day from him. We all knew he was one of the top tight ends in the NFL coming into the season, so good to see him continue to show that. And like I said, once again, the Packers, this is a Super Bowl contender if their offense can just play pretty good football and let that defense go and do some work. And in the fourth quarter, they did that with Micah Parsons and just strong defensive performance overall. Your thoughts on this one?
Like you said, Micah Parsons, 3 sacks. A lot of these came in the fourth quarter. I know at least two of them, maybe all three, when the Cardinals really needed to get things going, and then Micah was just in the backfield causing havoc. And then Jacoby Brissett played pretty good. And then I feel like it's always whenever you got like a backup quarterback in there, they're always going to look for their main target. Like you had Joe Flacco going to Jamar Chase over and over again. And then this game you have Jacoby Brissett going to Trey McBride. I don't know how many targets, but 10 catches, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns is a pretty big day, especially for a tight end. So a big day from him. And then the Packers, I'm not really sure what they did offensively, but they really, I mean, they gave up 23 points, but in general, the Packers don't need to do too much on offense. Just don't turn the ball over and put up some points because that the defense is really good.
Yeah, and again, the best offensive performance for them was Jacobs. I think that Love had a questionable decision in the first half. I think he may have thrown a bad pick. I can't remember, but I know I saw Twitter lighting up with some stuff about him. But they figured it out in the second half, and although they were down 13-6, they come back and got it done with 21 points in the third and fourth quarter. We'll go ahead and roll on to this next one here. Falcons taking on the Niners. This was a pretty good game overall from the Niners. Some questionable things here and there, but there was no question marks about how good Christian McCaffrey is. This is the Christian McCaffrey of old, where he was running the ball really well and catching passes. He's the leading rusher and the leading receiver. And you got to think, man, George Kittle comes back, and McCaffrey has his best rushing day of the season. So it just shows you how much Kittle means to that rushing attack. He's the best blocking tight end in the NFL, on top of being one of the best receiving threats. Real argument to be had that he's the best guy out there, and really, really does a lot for this Niners team. Just unlocks their offense in a different way. Mac Jones, again, taken in as the quarterback. Not an unbelievable performance. I think they're probably ready for Purdy to come back, but until Purdy can return, he's not a horrible option, especially if Christian McCaffrey is going to go off like this. For the Falcons, Michael Penix has looked pretty solid this year. They've had great contributions from Bijan at times. His performances have been unbelievable. We all knew he was that good, though. And then Drake London and Kyle Pitts have been worked into the offense and look better under Penix than they did with Cousins. So I expect that they can still win games. I think me and you both think the Falcons are a pretty good team, but they're hard to read, and we've talked about it a couple times. One week they score 30, and the next they score 10, and it's just like, what happened in between the week and in the preparation for the game? Now, I will say that the Niners do have a good defense, but that's a defense without Fred Warner right now. He's out for maybe the season, and so they're not as good as they would be, and you still only score 10 points. So questions to be had for the Falcons. And for the Niners, they look like a legit threat, especially with the health of McCaffrey and Kittle. As long as those guys are good to go, I expect they'll compete towards the end of the season, and they can only get better when they add back their quarterback and Brock Purdy. Your thoughts on this one?
I can't get a read on the Falcons at all. I don't know what to expect from them coming next week. The offense this game was not very good. Bijan wasn't even able to get going, which is probably the cause of the offense not being very good. Penix, he didn't have a, I don't think he turned the ball over this game. Wasn't too efficient through the air though. And then McCaffrey, man, like you said, vintage McCaffrey there, leading them in rushing and receiving. And then they do all this with Mac Jones. So once Purdy gets back, and then like you said, Kittle's, I think he was back this game. I don't know that he did too much. the 49ers could be a very scary team. They've been able to get to 5-2 with kind of a not complete roster at the moment with all the injuries they're having. So I think as long as CMC stays healthy, this team is really scary.
Yeah, and you don't want that Achilles tendonitis to flare up at any point because
Right.
if it does, it's really serious. But you're 100% right. They've put this thing together with Kendrick Bourne having huge games and missing Jawan Jennings, missing Ricky Pearsall, missing Brock Purdy. And yeah, they've had so much injury issues and they're still 5-2. So, really good team. They're coached really well. And like you said, Kittle did return. He didn't make any catches in this game, but he showed how much of a difference maker he is in the run game and made McCaffrey just that much better. And got him going when he wasn't having the best year on the ground. Another statistic that just has to be mentioned: McCaffrey has over 500 receiving yards on the year right now. He is a top 15 receiver in the sport, and he is a running back. So each and every week he can be their leading receiver. So it helps a ton to have this guy when all those receivers are injured. You have one. You have a superstar that can catch passes out of the backfield and then go run for 130 and 2 touchdowns as well. So he's a phenomenal player, and it definitely shows that that was a good decision when the Niners made that trade just those few years ago. We'll move on to this next one here, of course, on Monday Night Football, where we got two pretty good games here. The Buccaneers had a chance late in that game, and the Lions just were able to take over and take control, but they hung around and they had a chance. The injuries to the receivers are very apparent. They don't have the best receiving core now that Godwin's down, Ibuka's down, Mike Evans is out for the season, which really sucks. Broke his collarbone. That was a really severe injury. Going to end his 1,000-yard streak where he was trying to break Jerry Rice's record, actually, to become the all-time leader in that. So that sucks because everybody likes Mike Evans. Would have loved to have seen him do it. And unfortunately, that's going to be impossible now with the injury. For Baker, still think he played pretty solid. He just doesn't have the best weapons available. He's down his running back too, and it's just there's so many question marks. That was what separated the Colts from everybody else in the league too. With this win, the Buccaneers moved down to 5-2, and now the Colts are the only one-loss team with six victories. Obviously, that's unbelievable. And the Lions, they moved to 5-2. They have an unbelievable offense. Jahmyr Gibbs had the game of his life, was incredible, 140 rushing yards almost, 2 touchdowns, had some receiving work. Goff was incredible. Amon-Ra, of course, does what he does, has another touchdown, one of those leading receivers, and catches a ton of touchdowns as he has done all year, nearly 100 yards, and just overall, really strong performance from the Lions. And the Buccaneers will look to bounce back next week. Maybe they can get some more health and get like an Egbuka back, or even maybe a Chris Godwin can make a difference for this offense. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this was kind of the lines that you come to expect. The pretty consistent with the offense, and then the defense is always really good as well. And then Amon-Ra, like you said, 6 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. I don't feel like he really has like a major explosive game, but he's always just consistent with his catches and touchdowns. Makes him a really good fantasy player. And then as soon as we start promoting Baker for MVP, the Buccaneers scored 9 points. So that's unfortunate. But I think he's fine. Like you said, all of his receivers are pretty much hurt at this point. So I think once they start to get those guys back, Baker's going to be just fine. And then the Lions, obviously, they're coming off the loss to the Chiefs, and they're able to bounce back and get a huge win against a really good Buccaneers team. Down, like I said, down at the receiver position, but they're still a really good team and a really good win for the Lions. And then Buccaneers are going to be able to bounce back, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think that these are easily two of the top teams in the NFC so far this season. And when fully healthy, I think the Buccaneers would have gave them a great game. Hopefully, we'll see those two teams maybe play again later in the year in a playoff matchup. That could be really fun. I still think Baker can hang around in that conversation with the MVP.
For
And
sure.
the Lions, maybe they produce an offensive player of the year with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think there's a real world where he could do that. Moving into our last one here on Monday Night Football, the late game, the 10 o'clock kickoff between the Texans and the Seahawks. And man, this Texans defense, they get after you. They made plays left and right. They were able to get in the backfield, wreak havoc at times, but just not enough to get it done. CJ Stroud had a pretty rough first half, didn't look very good, made mistakes. You see, he has to throw the ball 49 times. You don't want to do that. We talked about it earlier. It's usually not a good thing. if you're throwing the ball 50 times, and he only threw for 220 yards. So not a ton of completions, and just overall not a great day through the air. For the Seahawks, Sam Darnold has been great. He's been kind of consistent, just doing what he does. Getting it out to a star player in Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's having an incredible year. Looks like a true star at the receiver position. And then Ken Walker finally has a pretty good game. And then Zach Charbonnet as well. Caught passes. I think he found the end zone. Scored a ton of points in fantasy. I've been holding him on the bench all year, just hoping for something, and he finally did something. So maybe a playable option there for any of y'all fantasy football guys out there. But obviously for them, they're great to see both the running backs get going. For the Texans, I think that's pretty much going to do it for you. I don't know how much they can really come back and compete. Their offense can't protect Stroud. He's getting sacked constantly. Trading away your best tackle probably wasn't a good decision when your pass rush or the other team's pass rush was getting after Stroud so much last year already. He certainly doesn't look like the rookie player that he was, but you've seen improvements through the season. It didn't look as rough as it did the first couple weeks. I don't know what the future is for the Texans. They may move some people at the deadline if they don't think they can compete. Maybe an older Nick Chubb can find a place somewhere. I don't really know what the odds are of that. And then for the Seahawks, they look great. This is a playoff team in my eyes. They have a good home field advantages too, which is really fun. And their defense has played well all year. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, like you said, with the Texans defense, they played it incredible. The Texans won the turnover battle 4-1, and I feel like majority of the time when you do that, you should win the game. I know as a Steelers fan, I've watched some abysmal offenses, but they were always able to win the turnover battle and somehow make it to 9 wins or 8-8-1, whatever it took to get to 500. But it just doesn't look like the Texans are going to be able to do that this year. CJ Stroud hasn't looked great this year, but like you said, he's people are getting in the backfield on him constantly, so there's not much he can really do about that. I think he's still a fine player, and then if they can beef up that offensive line, he'll be just fine. And then JSN has really ascended to be a star receiver this year. He definitely had the potential coming in to Seattle, but I think Sam Darnold somehow unlocked that in him. So that's really good to see for the Seahawks. And then if they can really get the run game going, they're a fun team to watch and a scary team to watch as well.
Yeah, and I think maybe that DK getting moved helped him a ton too, just
Yeah,
because DK he calls for the ball a lot and wants the ball in his hands, and you don't blame him. He's a super talented player, but it's really untapped the potential of JSN without a DK Metcalf there, and letting him just be the guy, the wide receiver one that they go to constantly nonstop. The play you're talking about with his turnovers, one of them was Cooper Kupp trying to throw a pass
that
to
is true.
JSN.
Yeah.
That was that was not a decision that I love too much, but whatever. You got fancy. It didn't matter. You got the victory. You just kind of wash that play away and say, "Yeah, we might not run that again." But it was interesting for sure. I like to see those fun things get whipped out in those games sometimes, but that is what happens sometimes when you run trick plays. It goes very bad. Let the quarterback throw the ball, especially when he's having a good day. Overall, again, Seahawks look really good. Texans, it just seems like they're kind of buried now in what seems to be a decent AFC, and that's not even with the Chiefs and the Bills being on top of it. Moving on to making our picks for the week, we will start out with some Thursday night football on Prime. Minnesota taking on LA in what should be a really fun game. Both of these teams looking to rebound after a loss last week. When you talk about this game, it's going to be interesting. The quarterback matchup. It could be McCarthy. It could still potentially be Wentz. I don't know what the Vikings are going to do, but I don't care. I trust the LA Chargers. I love this team. I love Herbert. Like you said, when he has to throw 55 times, he can complete 30 of them and throw for 400 yards. He's still really, really good. And I think their defense is going to start bouncing back. I mean, you have Harbaugh. There's just no way you have a bad defense all year. So give me the Chargers to get a victory here at home.
I'm with you. McCarthy or Wentz, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to go with the Chargers. Like you said, the defense has got to bounce back, and I mean that offense. Even the first half was rough, but I mean once they started having to throw the ball because they were down so big, they were able to get things going, and I look for them to keep that momentum going. It's a home game for them. I know they really don't do too much at home,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go with the Chargers here.
I think another key piece of this team too will just be figuring out the run game until they get Hampton back. It's a combination of Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal. they just haven't had real success since Hampton went down. So they're waiting on him to come back from the IR, so it'll be a few more weeks. But when he did return, I think that their offense will just only get better, especially after they've unlocked another weapon in Arunde Gadsden, who can just add on to that strong offense. We'll move on to our Sunday day slate here with Miami taking on Atlanta, and this is a quick one for me. It's not too hard. I know we can't get a read on Atlanta, but I can get a read on Miami, and it's, hey, they are not good. And I don't trust Tua anytime he steps on the field. So give me the Atlanta Falcons to get it done in Mercedes-Benz.
Yep, you stole the words right out of my mouth. We cannot get a read on the Falcons, but the Dolphins are terrible, especially since Mike McDaniel already came out and said that Tua is going to be starting. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons. And I mean, as long as they don't just turn the ball over, and I mean, if they have any offense at all, they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, keep the ball in Bijan's hands all day.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next one here, taking place in Cincinnati. The Bengals were able to get a victory last week, and that one wasn't the one you thought they'd win out of those two games. And so now they get the opportunity to go out and win two in a row. If they're able to catch two in a row, maybe they can start brewing something up, and maybe that Burrow return late in the season could actually find them in the playoffs. And their roster's certainly talented enough, especially on the offensive side. I think obviously the Jets are the worst team in football, and there's a couple bad teams, mine being one of them. But I think the Bengals are going to clearly get it done here at home. I think that Flacco's just going to throw all over this New York team. So give me the Bengals to get a huge win here.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one as well. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think the Bengals win this one. I'm not, I mean, Pittsburgh's playing Green Bay this week, not an easy game at all. So that puts Cincinnati right back in the division for first place in the division with a win here and a Pittsburgh loss. So, and with the way they played last week, I don't really see this game being too close. I mean, the Bengals defense is terrible, but the Jets offense is, I mean, the past 2 weeks has been absolutely atrocious. So I think they should be able to handle them just fine. And then that offense just keep doing what it's doing and they'll be all right.
Yeah, moving on to this next one here. Cleveland taking on New England. Cleveland coming off of what was a really promising game defensively, and also they had a great game from Quinshon Judkins, got things rolling. But I think they're running into a buzzsaw in Gillette Stadium, in Foxborough, and now the fan base is hyped up again. All those New England fans that were fans years ago, they may have left and went to the Kansas City Chiefs, but if the ones stuck around, they're now watching a really good New England team. They've got a great quarterback. They've got a good head coach. I really trust this team to get a win here over Cleveland, who just seems a little bit dysfunctional at times. So give me Drake May and the Patriots to move to 6-2 on the year.
Yep, I'm with you on this one as well. It will be interesting to see though how Drake May, I mean, obviously he's a good quarterback, but I'm kind of interested to see how he'll play against this Cleveland defense as it's a really, really good defense. I don't really think the Browns are going to win just because of how bad that offense is, but I'm curious to see how he plays against the Browns. I mean, if he can dominate the Browns, then that just makes that New England team even more scary.
Yeah, and moving on to this next one, we've got a matchup with the two rivals playing yet again. They just played. I do think that Philadelphia is a better football team, but New York got the better of them last time they played. I still think Philly, they've looked really good. They finally tapped into that great passing offense as well. I think they're going to be able to get it done here, especially because they're getting this one at home, which is a huge advantage. You saw New York's really big collapse last week. That might kill a lot of the confidence that they had built. So give me Philly to get a victory here at home. Also, those ticket prices are unbelievable. That shows you how many fans are going to be there in attendance to watch the Eagles get a victory here.
Yep, I'm with you on this one too. I don't think that Philly can drop both games to New York, especially in Philadelphia. And then I feel like New York has to be a little bit demoralized after last week. So I'm gonna go with Philadelphia here.
And moving on to our next one here, it's a game that we wouldn't have thought could be a great game before the season started, but Buffalo's kind of had some underwhelming performances, and Carolina's had some positive performances. But they're playing without Bryce Young, and with Andy Dalton on the field, I don't just trust this team very much. I think Buffalo goes into Carolina and gets a huge win here, and truthfully, Buffalo needs it. They've struggled, and they don't have too many good wins. I think this will be their first victory over a team that's over 500. So Buffalo gets it done here and gets a win over the 4-3 Panthers.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. If Bryce Young was starting, I might go with Carolina here,
Yeah.
but I don't like Andy Dalton starting at quarterback against Josh Allen at all. And then, like you said, this is one Buffalo needs. They've been on a bit of a skid here lately, so win it here could really boost them and launch them forward, moving towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and moving into this next one here, the Ravens, if they want to have any chance the rest of the season, they've got to win, and they got to win now. They are getting Lamar Jackson back, and with Lamar Jackson in the fold, they're a lot better. I think Roquan Smith is also going to be available to play, so that's your best defensive player becoming available. And who knows, Kyle Hamilton can step back on the field. This team might be building all the pieces back together to have a pretty good team. You saw Derrick Henry get going in the absence of the offense as a whole. And with Chicago, I just don't trust their defense a ton. They can give up points in a flurry. Baltimore is literally back against the wall, has to win this game. Lamar is fully rested back from an injury. I think the Ravens will get it done, but I think this will be a very close game. If I was taking a spread, I would take the Chicago Bears to stay in it. But give me Baltimore at home because if they don't win this one, the season literally might be over. So the Ravens get a victory here.
I'm actually going to go with the Bears on this one. They've won four in a row, and I mean Baltimore. I know they're getting back healthy, but they just until they show me something, I cannot go with them at all. They've played terrible all year. They've had injuries all year that's been putting them down, and they're able to finally get some starters back this week. So we'll see. But until they show me something, I'm going to go with the Bears.
You're 100% right. Chicago could definitely go in there and win this game. And if that happens, well, I mean, Baltimore fans are going to riot. The streets, they might burn the stadium down before the season's over at that point. Moving on to our next one here, taking place in NRG Stadium. Houston, actually the favorite in this game. You have to think a lot of that has to do with Mac Jones potentially being the quarterback yet again. But I like San Francisco. I like the fact that George Kittle's back and rolling. He's healthy. You saw what Christian McCaffrey did last week. It was unbelievable. Houston is great in pass rush and getting after the quarterback, but they haven't necessarily slowed down the run game and stopped a great run attack. So give me San Francisco to get a huge win here in Houston. I think Houston, just the struggles that they've had this season, I think they're going to keep getting aired out. And also, San Francisco can get after the quarterback, and man, Houston lets that happen way too much. So give me San Francisco to get a huge win and technically an upset victory over the Texans.
Yeah, I don't know if Vegas knows something that I don't, but the Texans have not looked good this year, and San Francisco's just been able to get the job done. So I'm gonna go with them. I'm surprised that Houston is favorited in this game. I know it's at home, but they just have not looked good this year. So I'm gonna go with San Francisco.
Moving on to our next one here, Tampa Bay taking on New Orleans in a game that shouldn't be all that close, but you look at the spread and it is really close because Baker has nobody to throw the ball to. His entire roster is injured. His defense has faced some problems here and there. I still think they're too good to go out and lose a game to the Saints, but I would be worried about it because the Saints do have an offense that can score some points. I just think Baker's too good. I like the team just enough to go out and get this victory, but I do think it will end up being close. But give me the Buccaneers by 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers as well with this one. I think with the Buccaneers wide receivers fully healthy, I don't think this is a very close game. But with all of them being out, and I mean, New Orleans has played pretty good in most games this year. They just haven't been able to pull out some wins. But I don't think they can beat our MVP Baker. So I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers here.
Yup, and moving on to our next one here, Dallas taking on Denver in Mile High Stadium. That is such a hard place to go in and get a victory. That it's just the home field advantage. They get to practice in it. They get to prepare for that kind of situation. And we know that this is going to be a super high-powered run up and down the field offense. Dallas might be gassed by the end of this game, and if there's anybody that can go out and shut down a Pickens or a CeeDee Lamb, it's Pat Surtain. He's the best corner in all of football. So give me Denver to get a really close win here. You got to think after those two super crazy wins in the fourth quarter that they're just rejuvenated or motivated. They know that they can win any game no matter what how far down they are. And I just don't think Dallas can stop them. I mean, they have a good offense. They have really good pieces. They can run the ball. Bo Nix has looked much better the last few weeks. So give me Denver to get a win here at home in Empower Field at Mile High. Again, look at those ticket prices, $312 to get in the door. Fans are definitely showing up for this Denver team like they have Peyton Manning once again.
I'm gonna go with Dallas in this one. I do not like Dallas's defense at all, but that offense is really, really scary. I know that Denver's defense is really good, but like you said, Pat Surtain can shut down George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb, but he's not going to be able to shut them both down in one place. So I'm gonna go with Dallas in this one.
Yeah, and I will quickly say the potential of Dre Greenlaw missing this game due to suspension, that could be a big deal. And the run game could get going. And if he's not there, they do have a lack at the linebacker position. It was an upset that I wanted to pick, but just in my mind, I switched it up last second and went Denver. It should be a really fun game, though. Moving to the next one, it should be the opposite of a fun football game. You're talking about the best team in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts, taking on the Titans and who have looked just terrible. This spread is insane, 14 and a half. I mean, we're terrible, but that's crazy. I still think we are bad enough to lose by that much. I would love to see Cam Ward get going. Again, as a Titans fan, the only thing I want to see the rest of the year is how well these rookies play. Can Jeffrey Simmons be an all-pro caliber guy like you said earlier? We might actually have, there's a real world where the Titans, as bad as we are, have two all-pros. Jeffrey Simmons and Chimere Dike as the returner, as the special team guy, because those two guys have been the best players at their positions potentially. But the rest of the team, it's rough. I hope we do go out and trade a lot of those older players and get value because draft is how you fix your team. It's proven time and time again. If you go out and make good draft picks, you can fix your roster. We've seen a lot of teams do that, so I hope the Titans are able to go out and recoup some value for older players. I don't necessarily think we should get rid of a Ridley just because I want Ward to have a star receiver to move with the future, but like a Tony Pollard, I'm okay with them shopping him and just going out and adding some value, even if it is late round picks, just to go out and draft some rookies in the future, build up the roster. Do think the Colts obviously take this one. Give me the Colts to get a huge victory. Jonathan Taylor probably run all over us. He's done it plenty of times since he's been in Indianapolis. I expect it will happen again. The Colts win big in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one. Like you said, you would just want to see Cam Ward play well, and I'm completely with you at the Calvin Ridley. I think they need to keep at least one veteran receiver so that he can have someone to throw the ball to. But for this game, I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Yeah, it's not much of a difficult decision there. The best team in the NFL versus one of the worst. Moving into our next one here, this should be a really fun game, a late one. Pittsburgh needs to bounce back and show that their defense can go out and get those stops against a team in Green Bay who's had their own struggles on offense. If it wasn't for the defense last week, they probably would have lost that game. This should be a really fun matchup of two superstar edge rushers. Who's going to get after the other one? Who's going to make the big plays? Who's going to show up and do it? Again, the question marks remain on these two teams with the receiving core. Other than DK Metcalf, what else do the Steelers really have? Green Bay, they've got 42 different wide receiver twos. They don't really have a wide receiver one, so Jordan Love just finds a different guy every week to be his star player. I think that they always rely on Josh Jacobs. And actually, I think you're going to be happy again here. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I think that they're the underdog technically in this game, but when you talk about home field advantage and that terrible towel, I've been to that stadium. I've watched a team that had Big Ben, and I think he scored 3 touchdowns off of QB sneaks. So there's something magic that goes down in that stadium, and I think Pittsburgh is a good football team. Aaron Rodgers proved to me last week once again how good he is, and you know there's that little hint of revenge in Aaron Rodgers, and he wants to get it here. So give me the Steelers to get a huge win and bounce back after that tough loss over the Packers here.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be at this one. I know Pittsburgh's wearing their throwback uniforms. I absolutely hate them. Aaron Rodgers has actually came out and said that he does not want them to be wearing them this game because he wants he wants his highlights to be played all over from this game, and he does not want to be in those uniforms with those highlights. So, pretty funny there. But I'm too skeptical about Pittsburgh's defense. Weeks 1 and 2, they looked terrible. Then the next 3 games, they looked great. And then last week, it was just absolutely awful. So I don't trust the defense enough to beat a team like Green Bay. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay in this one.
Yeah, and again, you're hoping you put that jinx on them with that pick, and so when you're in attendance, you're like, "Yes, I don't care about the pick. I got the win."
Exactly.
Yes, obviously
Exactly.
that's a fun ticket price to get in there too. But obviously that stadium and that fan base is a great one, one of the best in the NFL, and obviously has one of the longest storied histories as well. This is actually two teams that have extreme storied histories. I mean, it's two of the teams in the NFL. The Green Bay and Pittsburgh should be a fun matchup. Moving on to our Monday Night Football game. The Kansas City Chiefs get another one at Arrowhead, another one on prime time. Seems they are there a lot. Washington, of course, comes in struggling, potentially without Jaden Daniels. I don't think they have much of a chance here at all. This sucks because this could have been a really fun game if they were fully healthy and ready to go, and that defense was playing like they were when they went on that run to the NFC Championship game last year. But I just don't expect Washington to hang around. I think Kansas City, they've unlocked Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes looks like Patrick Mahomes once again. The run game, it really isn't great at all. I think they need to go out a running back, but they don't need it right now, especially not against Washington, who's just struggled so much to stop teams. So give me Andy Reid to coach a perfect game here, and give me the Kansas City Chiefs to get a victory over the Commanders, who dropped to 3-5, and it's going to be a rough path to the playoffs after this loss.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Like you said, this could have been a really good game if the Commanders were fully healthy, but they're not. And then Kansas City is just rolling right now. Unfortunately, I think they're completely back now they get Rashee Rice. And if they get the run game going too, man, they will be very, very scary. But for this game, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and quickly I'll say this is a huge week for bye weeks. If you are playing fantasy football, pay attention because you've got, I mean, Detroit, that's tons of superstar, high level guys. LA, Puka, of course, is injured, but you're losing Devontae, Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of names coming from that one. Seattle, I've got my own share of a lot of Seattle's players, so gonna miss out on some of those dudes as well. So watch out if you have one of these teams on the bye week. There's six of them not in action this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We've had another fun week of podcasting. We'll continue to do this where we cover the NFL routinely. I think that so far it's been a pretty good experience. The channel has done well. People have watched the NFL podcasts, have tuned in and enjoyed them, so that's a good thing. Gained some subscribers off of the NFL podcast, which has helped us out as well. If you guys do enjoy that content, once again, I do post. I just started posting NBA as it just started. Posting my college football every Thursday for the pick'ems, Monday and Tuesday for the recaps, and we'll do some playoff baseball coverage. That seems like that could go quick if the Dodgers look like they did in the NLCS. I'm pulling for the Toronto Blue Jays and hoping that offense keeps on a rolling. Colin, again, if you got any thoughts at all, you can share them now.
Yeah, like you said with the bye week, I've got on one of my fantasy teams, I've got Stafford out, I've got McBride out, and Amon-Ra out. So I think I'm just going to take the loss this week. I'm not sure there's much I can do about that. Real quick on baseball, it's a little off topic, but my goodness, Shohei Ohtani is insane.
He's a freak, man.
And then, yeah, like I said, I'm going to the Steelers game this week, so hopefully they're able to pull off a win. I know I picked against them. Hopefully that jinxes them, and they do get a win. I hope.
Yeah, and it should be a fun experience either way. There's going to be two good teams on the field playing. So, again, it does suck to be in attendance, though, when your team does lose. It is no fun, especially when you spend all that money on tickets to get in there. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will return next week with a Wednesday, same exact thing, be our recap of the week before and our picks for the upcoming week. Should be another good week of football this week. Tune in to the NFL and or college football and the NBA stuff. I'll start releasing that routinely, and that mock draft. We will have that coming out at some point. I'll talk to Colin a little bit after we get off here and some other people and see when we can schedule that up. But that should be a fun one. And the Titans, man, we're moving closer to the number one pick. We can go and get some crazy value if we get that number one pick. Maybe trade it to get some superstar because I think the Bears, they've kind of built what they have now off of trading that pick when they did. They traded it. They got DJ Moore. They got multiple picks. The pick that ended up being Caleb Williams. And now they've built a team. And look at Carolina. They haven't done too much after making the Bryce Young draft pick. So I think always trading that number one pick after you've already got your guy at the quarterback position can be a great decision. Anything else you want to share before we close it out here?
Go Steelers.
There it is. Go Steelers. Hope they get a win for you while you're in attendance. And I have no hope in my team to get a victory. My other team back here might be able to pull it off on Friday night. It will help that it's a Friday night game. The fan base will show up against Cal. That'll be an experience that'll be talked about, of course, on our pick'ems later this week. Again, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, comment if you guys have enjoyed the video. And we will see you guys again next Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.